We want to continue our conversation about the controversial film Cuties on Netflix. Let's bring in our company, Derek Hunter, the host of the Derek Hunter podcast, and Grace Curley from the Howie Carr Show. Guys, thanks for being here. So we just talked to Congressman Jim Banks about this, who has put out a letter to the Department of Justice with Senator Tom Cotton calling for legal action to be taken against Netflix. But what I want to pose to you guys is some people on the left or even Netflix themselves have said, well, this is also educational video, just talking about what 11-year-olds might be going through at this age. Obviously, we heard what Jim Banks said, that this is essentially pornography, and we even showed the tweet from Tulsi Gabbard talking about how it's helping pedophiles look at stuff like this. Grace, I want to go to you first. Do you think this is helpful to, is there some truth in this is helpful to educate parents or teenagers, not even teenagers yet, on the challenges that are out there, or has Netflix just gone way too far?
I think Netflix has gone way too far. I mean, I was an adolescent girl at one point, and my parents never had to watch these kind of movies to raise me. I think a big problem I'm seeing is there's a lot of think pieces that are very woke and trying to get us to understand that there's some educational thing that maybe we Republicans don't understand, and we're the crazy ones for thinking it's so inappropriate, when really some things are simple, and when you watch these clips, you can just simply say, this is not right. People shouldn't be watching this, let alone for these little girls. They shouldn't be out there being exposed like this. It's just inappropriate.
Yeah, it is extremely inappropriate. Derek, do you think that this is the right approach for the DOJ to take action against Netflix, or is there a better approach?
Well, the better approach would be for the market to say we don't want to have anything to do with this, and people would cancel their Netflix. It would also be good to have the Obamas, who've made $100 million from Netflix, come out and condemn it, or Susan Rice, who sits on the board of Netflix, to come out and condemn it. But, you know, they know who signs the front of their checks, and that's not about to happen. So we might as well look at this. There's no harm in this. If it's as innocent as everybody says, then there'll be nothing to find and they'll get complete vindication. But I find it disgusting that they argue that this is to illustrate a problem or a potential problem out there, when in reality, everybody I suspect here has seen the movie Reservoir Dogs, right? If you want to highlight something, you don't have to show it. The scene where they cut the ear off, or Michael Madsen cuts the ear off, yeah, Sean's reaction is exactly right. That wasn't on camera. They panned to the side and they showed the wall. Yeah. It wasn't on camera. They let your mind fill it out. You don't have to get explicit to send an explicit message or to condemn something explicit. This seems to be a fetish more than trying to send a message, or a thumb in the eye of society. Whatever it is, it didn't have to be done this way to convey the message they claim they wanted to convey.
Yeah, Grace, as I mentioned to Congressman Banks, there's two issues here. The marketing of it, which kind of is disgusting, and then the content of it. So let me focus on the marketing for a second. I want to show you the original cover, which we've all seen, the one on the left, and then the one on the right is what they changed it to. There's a couple little interesting details that also got changed. Lindsay pointed out really interestingly, if you look at the one on the left, the original one, it was 16 plus. Now they've changed the rating to mature audience, which is interesting because they clearly recognized it. Also in the first, it's not just the image that when you look at that, they look like adult women from a far distance. I mean, it takes getting close to it to realize that those are young women, or young girls rather. But also the first part, they call it twerking. And then at the second part, they call it, what is the word here? Traditional free-spirited dancing. I mean, Grace, it seems like they acknowledge they have a problem, and now they're trying to clean it up and make it look like, oh, don't worry, there's nothing to see here.
Right, and I agree with Derek. I don't think exposing a problem, you're helping by creating another problem. It doesn't really make sense to me. Oh, we're trying to teach everybody how bad this is, and by showing them bad content. It's just, to me, it's kind of a double negative. It doesn't make any sense. And also, I think that you're right. It does show that they're trying to backtrack now. They're trying to make this into something it's not. When, if you've seen anything on Twitter, it's very clearly not a free-spirited dance crew. I watched it and I was like, oh my God, what is this? It's just not right. And I really do agree with you that I don't think making this movie is helping anyone understand the problem. I think there's a better way to go about showing that young girls probably are dragged into this world too quickly, but I don't think this helps at all.
Yeah, I mean, it almost, I think, plays down the severity of it by the way they've changed the cover, and the description is almost more inviting. Like, hey, come watch this. It's not that big of a deal. Derek, you wrote an entire book on outrage, which I've told you before I absolutely love. You mentioned canceling Netflix, right? I got to be honest. I think the right is horrible at their outrage. And so the question I have for you is, when the left does something, it's boycott this, don't buy this product, and everybody goes nuts and advertisers get canceled, the right doesn't seem to do it as well. So let me ask you this. You said cancel Netflix. Is that the right approach to this?
Well, it's right. I'm going to hedge my bets and go what all the conservatives end up doing. I hate boycotts, but I'm not going to pay for it. If you really want to have an impact, we're going to have to do something in mass, and that's just the way it is. Put it this way: you can do it. You can illustrate the disgusting nature of this with absurdity. Sean, after work, do you want to go buy an exotic dance club? Or try using the words that Netflix uses to describe this movie as a euphemism for a strip club. Right? That's exactly what they're doing. You have to point it out. It's the only way to get them to change. Either that or their pocketbooks. One of the two, mockery or a boycott.
Yeah, but Derek, the left never has to do that. Why? I mean, that's what I'm saying. The left sends around a couple hashtags, and the next thing you know, every advertiser is bailing from a program. And it seems like, for the right, you're going, okay, now we all have to cancel our Netflix subscriptions.
Well, the hive mind doesn't need to be given orders. One thought occurs to one of them and they all act. They're ready to believe you. They're ready to act. They're ready to go. On the right, we pride ourselves on individuality. How many times have you heard somebody preface showing something outrageous that a Bill Maher said, for example, and saying, I don't want to see him canceled. I want more voices rather than less voices. It's true. The more that people hear of the left, the less they like it. And it benefits us. There's a reason they want to shut us up. But from a business standpoint, if you're going after a corporation, the only way they're going to care is the bottom line. That's
Grace,
it. The only way they're going to care.
Grace, we don't have a ton of time left, but do you agree with Derek, or do you think that the only way to do this is to cancel Netflix?
So I'm very much against cancel culture, but I do think that this is a little bit different, because this isn't someone making a mistake and saying something incorrect or saying something that's not politically correct. This seems to be a bigger issue. This seems to be borderline pornographic.
Right. They're not even saying they're sorry. They're trying to cover it up. That's different.
Right. And it just seems like different issues. This isn't someone saying, like, tweeting something that I disagree with. Right. This seems like something that you could probably cancel your subscription over just because you morally don't feel it's right. So I would say I haven't canceled my Netflix subscription, but I'm definitely considering it. And I think the way they are handling this is not making me want to keep my Netflix subscription.
Okay.
I don't have one.
Good for you.
Right, good for you, Derek.
So get one and then cancel it right away, Derek.
I borrow somebody else's password.
Sign up and then just cancel it. That'll show them.
Derek, Grace, great to have you. Thanks for your insights on this.
Thanks,
all right.
guys.
Well, recently we told you about a salon in San Francisco that Nancy Pelosi visited while the rest of the city was under a lockdown. Well, since then, business owners have been up in arms due to the lockdown measures. We're going to talk to one of those business owners up next.